From the brutal and gory action to the heart-wrenching story beats, let's talk about the Gears of War movie, which has a lot of expectations to live up to.
Roger that.
Jump on a moving train and try to recapture a bomb. This stage just keeps getting better and better.
After all, the video game franchise is still considered to be one of the best. I mean, back when the original Gears of War came out in 2006, it kinda revolutionized what a third-person action game could be. It had that iconic over-the-shoulder camera, kinda like Resilv's getting attached to these characters. Everything from the banter to the strong brotherhood between Evil 4 before it, but the things it added on top are still used in video game design to this day. That said, the Gears franchise isn't just revered for its gameplay. In fact, many would say they actually play for the story, which was also pretty mind-blowing back then. You had this band of soldiers trying desperately to save humanity from this genetically modified horde of underground monsters called the Locust. Sounds like a pretty regular action plot, right? Well, yeah, it kinda was at first. However, as the game series progressed, players found them was perfect. What really changed the tone, though, was the fact that each of these soldiers had attachments to the families they'd left behind, and it sorta created this really emotionally fueled narrative that, as we know now, continued for 5 whole games with a 6th on the way. Like, being a successful franchise is one thing, but when you've got 6 different mainline entries, each getting stellar critical and fan reception, yeah, that's a massive hit. In fact, the franchise has won multiple Game of the Year awards and has sold over 40 million units in total. You know what comes with that sort of success? The pressure to deliver. I mean, the Gears of War movie has to be good, right? It's a massive franchise, and it's not like there's no budget backing up the project. Netflix has not only committed to the movie, but a TV show as well, so they know they're gonna have to pour a lot of resources into this thing. You've gotta wonder though, can Gears of War even turn into a good adaptation? Like, despite all the great things it does as a game, the story is still your average dystopian sci-fi with zombie-like monsters. Don't get me wrong, I think it can be translated into a movie with relative ease. The real challenge here is making it actually good. Besides, video game adaptations are notorious for being bad. Now, of course, we've got a perfect example of a spectacular adaptation in The Last of Us 2. But again, that was already such a story-heavy game that it didn't take much for them to bring it to TV. Gears, on the other hand, has always been about the action and the big weapons, like someone calling in the orbital strike from the Hammer of Dawn or obliterating an enemy with a chainsaw. Those are the moments that make the Gears of War franchise so special, and even though it does have those really emotional story moments, like Dom's saga in the original trilogy, it's still never the main focus of the series. So it is gonna be tricky for them to tread the line between source material and new stuff, though that might not be an issue for the movie because the Coalition is working on the movie too. And if you don't know what that means, well, they're the people who make the Gears of War games these days. They know what it takes to come up with a good Gears story. Not to mention, the studio heads are gonna be around for approval as well. So if there's some extra element that needs to be added into the mix, you bet they're gonna try to make it accurate to the lore. I mean, that's what happened with The Last of Us, right? The franchise creator Neil Druckmann was super hands-on with the whole process, guiding Craig Mazin on the lore and important story beats. I'd assume it's pretty similar here too, with someone like Mike Crump, who's the studio head, collaborating with Netflix and their team. Oh, and speaking of the showrunner's team, there are some really exciting names on board already. Yep, the Academy Award nominee and Dune writer Jon Spaihts is gonna pen the movie. Oh, and apart from Dune, he's also been involved in Doctor Strange, The Darkest Hour, and Prometheus. I mean, the dude's portfolio is absolutely stacked, meaning we're all gonna be eating, at least in terms of writing anyway. Speaking with Tandem, he hailed Gears as one of the all-time great action games with vivid characters and a beautifully designed world. He also said that he couldn't wait to help bring the series to the cinema. Both the Coalition and Netflix also posted similar PR stuff, praising Jon for his previous work. Now, we don't know many details about what the story story's gonna be, but Netflix does have an official synopsis. It basically describes the original game's plot, saying that the movie follows a ragtag crew of infantry members locked in mortal combat with the Locust Horde. It then confirms that Marcus Fenix is indeed going to be our main character, with the movie taking place on planet Sarah from the original game. Also, as far as the cast is concerned, most people want Dave Bautista to play Marcus Fenix. In fact, even the franchise creator Cliff Bleszinski tweeted that he wanted to see the former WWE superstar in the role. None of those details have been confirmed yet though, but of course the cast is going to be full of big muscular dudes, so that narrows it down a bit maybe. Other than that, we still don't know who's going to be directing the movie yet, which honestly is a bit concerning. Why? Well, the Gears of War movie has been through development hell. Seriously, what is it with Xbox franchises and production issues? It's actually kinda wild. I mean, if you thought the Halo TV show taking a decade to come out was bad, then get this. The Gears of War movie adaptation has been in the works since 2007. Now, to be fair, that adaptation was a bit different and was headed by Epic Games, who were developing the game back in the day. Still, the franchise has swapped hands multiple times from New Line Cinema to Universal Studios, and you could say that much of it came down to the fact that it's just very hard to adapt a video game like Gears into a movie. Like, I've already mentioned how the action can get old pretty quickly in movie form, so they have to flesh out the story more. Though thankfully this Netflix project seems to be on track for release. Still, the whole developmental hell situation makes it sound more like Halo than The Last of Us. And that can only mean one thing. Yep, Gears could also end up repeating the mistakes of Halo. Seriously, the way the Halo TV show veered off in random directions and had these puzzling moments, I can't even explain the frustration the fandom felt. For all intents and purposes, the Gears of War movie has to cater to fans of the video game. It needs to be authentic and respect this source material. Not to mention, all the soundtrack and visual aesthetic have to match the games too. After all, this was one of the biggest reasons why The Last of Us was so successful and Halo failed so badly. I get it, making video game movies is hard.
All right, man, I'll do it. Yo, on one condition. They stay here, yo, as collateral.
But over the past couple of years, we've definitely seen multiple examples of how to pull it off correctly. I mean, even the Mario movie seems set to break records at the box office. So if Gears fails, not only will it put a stain on the franchise, but on Xbox as its custodian as well. And that, folks, was it for the Gears of War movie and what it could potentially look like.